Staring at herself in the mirror on the restroom door. Voices in her head that mirror what she's heard before.
Hey beautiful people, it's your girl Shakima. I'm just stopping in y'all for a quick pick a crystal to select your card and receive a message from the universe reading. I haven't done one of these for a long time. So we're gonna sort of dive into it for this Cancer full moon, kicking off the 2023 season because your girl's on assignment. So here I am following up with a homework that needed to take some time for me to deliver. So here we are, guys. We're going to get back into the mix and swing of these videos. So you guys can go ahead and pick the crystal that I guess you guys are most drawn to, the crystal that most resonates with you. And I'm going to unpack the message from the universe. So the cards, I guess they've been unpacked in layering of questions. So I'm going to pause right now, plug in the little options for you. I'll probably put it here actually, for you to pick a crystal from. And yeah, once you pick your crystal, I'll be back to do the reading for y'all. That part. Stay tuned. Now guys, before we get into the video, I'm definitely gonna need for you guys to be in the mix of things. Be sure to comment, like, okay, give your girl some thumbs up out here in these streets. I mean, if it doesn't resonate and you want to give me a thumbs down as well, it gets me into the algorithm. So whatever you're drawn to, it's on you. No shame in your game. Just do it with conviction either way. And definitely comment below and let me know how you guys have found the information that I guess these cards are going to provide, because I don't really know what's up underneath all this. But we are going to dive into it, unpack it, and see what the guidance is for us. So go ahead, make sure you've already pick the crystal that you're most drawn to. We've got the rose quartz crystal, we've got the amethyst crystal, and we've got the sodalite crystal. So whichever one of those actually you're calling, draw for that one, and we'll go ahead and unpack it. I'm actually going to start, interestingly enough, with the rose quartz. I know you guys, by the way that the cards are set out, you probably would have thought that the rose quartz was number one, was the last one, sorry, but it was actually the first deck that I started pulling for. So I'm going to start with that one and dive straight into it, guys. So let's get into the tea. Clearly more ways than one. Okay, so we're going to start with the rose quartz crystal. Anybody who's been drawn to the rose quartz crystal, you guys are probably definitely working on some heart chakra healing coming into 2023 for this Cancer full moon season. So what I saw with you guys' dynamics is that whatever you guys are kind of like navigating through during this full moon season, it's more of a release based on the choices that you've made since the Cancer new moon season, which was about 6 months ago. I want to say sort of like June, July-ish, because that one was pretty intense for me, y'all. I don't know about you guys, but that one was pretty intense for me. So first question we've got as far as, how we're going to be unraveling this Cancer full moon. The first question I asked the cards was, where are you? For those of you who will choose the actual rose quartz crystal, where are you internally as you're navigating this Cancer full moon energy? And we've got some Three of Wands energy. So this lets me know that you're at that place where you're definitely planning ahead on things. You're kind of like seeing, again, based on the decisions that you've made 6 months ago, where that could potentially lead you 6 months from now and beyond. I can see that there is some progress, I guess, that you feel like you've made some progress since the last 6 months, and it's almost a case of discovering a little bit more as well about things that you can also do differently. I see that you're also potentially thinking about different partnerships. This could be friendships, romantic relationships, or business relationships type dynamic, right? But you're thinking about these partnerships and where to place them and how you're going to place your energy within it, and where exactly you want some of these relationships to go. So for this Cancer full moon, you're kind of really looking in depth at how you can cultivate some of these things that you can see progress in, and some of the things, I guess, that aren't necessarily where you had thought. You're kind of trying to find the balance on how to juggle those things, right? So the next question I actually asked as well was, what path are you crossing, okay, during this Cancer full moon transit? Now we've got a lot of energy that you're navigating through in terms of this Cancer full moon energy. So I'm just going to pull out all the cards for you. We've got 5 cards in terms of the energy that you're navigating. And then we also had an additional 3 cards. So this energy that you're navigating has layers to it. And I want to put that across straight off the bat, because I was like, oh, interesting. It's like because you're going on this voyage, essentially, because you're sort of like planning, but then there's like God's plan, like when we start to do what we're doing, like the universe reflects us back. So you start to plan, God's plan starts to reveal itself to you in the same breath, if you will. So this, I want to say, is like some of the stuff within the context of God's plan. This is potentially to do with your plan in terms of the path that you're crossing. And this is potentially to do with a deeper layer of it in terms of the path that God has you needing to walk in order to be able to obviously execute his plan as well, right? So we're going to sort of unpack both of those and put them into context as they kind of show up. So let me just dive into it and see what I can see here in terms of the guidance on this. Okay. So this is interesting, right? What I'm seeing is that the path that you're crossing, this is sacral chakra activation first and foremost. Let's be very clear about that. We've definitely actually even got the sacral chakra card. And this is speaking in reference to utilizing Archangel Ariel as you're kind of like navigating through the energies of this Cancer full moon, because your sacral chakra is like, I guess, activated during this transit for you. You're actually learning to let go, like constantly looking out of yourself, looking outside of yourself for validation, looking outside of yourself for all of these things that you thought you needed, basically, to be able to make the piece of this puzzle come together, this plan that you're planning. Now you're actually like identifying what qualities or what skill sets you have within yourself to be able to allow for certain things to come into manifestation. It's not necessarily going to be in the way that you had initially envisaged it. So I see there's some bending and curving kind of going on here, where you're having to kind of like bend to the intention of the universe to also align with your intention, right? And you've kind of had some time, I guess you're kind of navigating through this process now. You've had some time to heal since the energies of the Cancer new moon, some intentions or seeds that were planted then. You've had some time to be able to heal from, I want to say, some of the things that God was working on you had to do with self-esteem and self-worth. And your heart is now in a place where God isn't necessarily asking you to be patient per se on all of the different variables. He's still asking you to be patient on some things, but there are certain things that you've actually healed in certain ways where you don't have to be patient for those things to manifest anymore, because now you see within yourself that whoever you were waiting for to be able to do certain things for you, you're having to do those things yourself, and you've actually become quite adept at being able to get these things done. And it was always, I guess, down to you to actually be able to see these things within yourself to actually get it done in the first place. Now, within the context of that, in terms of the path that you're crossing, and this is where you're going to have to learn where you need to find your patience and where you're going to have to let go, feeling like you're still waiting for something. So that's for you to be able to identify in terms of some of the plans that you have for yourself. Now, in terms of the plans that God is working in cohesion with you about, it's like God saying there's no adjacent possibility. If you want it, like, okay, so, ooh, y'all, this is the tea. This is nice. So basically, and this is why it's important to listen to like God's ultimate like plan, right? Because he knows like the whole picture. So God, the way that you will know the things that you are no longer having to be patient about or for, the way that you'll know that is through the things where it's like there's no alternative to this situation. This is a firm boundary. This is a hard no type situation. Even if it's a hard no for a moment, let that be the hard no for that moment, and know when to let it go. Because it may be in certain situations, it may be that there's like days or weeks in between the window where you are going to be called to readdress that decision again. But for the most part, right, God wants you to know that it's one of those situations where you'll know when you need to just kind of like rest and allow for your energy to be restored, right? There's certain situations where you're going to be so burnt out, you don't necessarily have the same level of tolerance as you perhaps did maybe 6 months ago, right? For certain situations, certain people, certain behavioral patterns, just certain environments in general as well, right? And when you kind of like find yourself in those types of situations, that's where you need to understand that that is patience letting you know that, okay, I've met my capacity with this situation. I'm having to kind of like, I guess, navigate a different way within this situation, or figure out a different way to navigate. I want to say this person because it feels like at least two people, but navigate this person or this situation. For you, it's not necessarily about keeping the balance, because what it is, why God is even sort of like giving you this favor as far as this path that he's having you cross, is that the relationship dynamics hasn't been in balance for the longest, essentially, and things aren't necessarily on a fair scale as such, right? In terms of these two particular people, I'm saying two, but it may be for yourself, it may be one in one dynamic and one in another dynamic type thing, friendship, romantically, business, whatever it is, because we're dealing with those three layers or these three relationship archetypes for you guys, in speaking about the context of this sacral chakra activation that you're navigating through. But basically, essentially, your standards are elevating, right? Your precedent is being set to new levels and new bars during the process of this Cancer full moon. And God is saying, where you feel the hard boundaries, know that that is where he has helped you to restore the pieces of you that felt like those standards were almost too much to ask for. And now is the time to ask, because the stars are in your favor, for one, but also God sees that you also now deserve this. And when I say deserve this, you are also now of a vibrational match to said thing, right? And the guidance for you on how to actually work your light, interestingly enough, during this Cancer full moon is High Priestess. Okay, you're dealing with priestess vibes. So working your light, it's kind of like you're having to do a lot of self-inquiry. Okay, you're having to go within yourself to ask, how are you being called to step up and lead in certain situations? So where are you being called to be able to let someone know, look, this is something that I may have had a tolerance to deal with 6 months ago. Within space of that time, I've grown some in 6 months, and this is no longer something that I have the tolerance to partake in, and it's not necessarily something that I want to continue to perpetuate. I don't want to give you the impression or misrepresent myself that I'm still in that place that I was 6 months ago, to the point where we can still have these types of dynamics, or I'm still showing up in this type of context of the situation. So how are you being called to step up and lead? Because there may be some relationships that are outdated in terms of the dynamics that you guys are sort of navigating at the minute, and Spirit wants you to know that in order for these shifts and changes that you would like to see to happen, you are going to have to plan. The path that you're at is really having to sort of like utilize your leadership abilities and know where you are within yourself and what you will and will not tolerate, essentially, right? In terms of the outcome of the situation, so the outcome of the situation is actually seeing you in the Queen of Pentacles energy, and it's actually in reverse. So it seems as though the outcome of the situation is going to be a bit of a juggling act, right? You're going to have to figure out how to be practical about work and family commitments, right? Your career, your passion, the thing that you feel you're purposely here to do outside of family as well, right? It's about finding the balance between those things. And that's essentially the outcome that you're navigating through. It is going to essentially be an imbalance for you, because that has been the tides coming into this Cancer full moon. And I definitely, even looking at the cards, I believe that that is the outcome, because the cause had already set things like that in motion. I can see that, you know, God is letting you know that things have been unfair for a while. Things haven't necessarily been in your favor per se, but that's because you haven't been standing in your own favor. You haven't been standing in your own stance of what you require in order to be able to stay charged in this vibration, right? To have yourself be poured back into as well. So the outcome inevitably is that there will be an imbalance, but again, the universe works divinely. So the message for you on navigating through this Cancer full moon, right? The universe wants you to know that the moment you realign with love, clear direction is presented to you. Okay, I'm going to see if I can there you go. The moment I realign with love, clear direction is presented to me, right? Keep that as your affirmation as you're navigating, because there's a misalignment. You're saying one thing and lowering your standards in places, or elevating your standards in places where you know that you're working with people that really are at said standards. So you may have to manage your expectations to find a nice medium compromise where everybody can, I guess, meet at the level that they are at, and elevate some, and also be able to gain perspective some for the person who will have to I guess, bring their perspective down a little bit. When I say down a little bit, I mean in terms of vibration. You know, some people are hopeful. Hope is like some of like the highest of vibrations, if you will. So some people may be wandering through situations with other people who may be a little bit more skeptical because life has taught them to be exactly that way, and it's a case of navigating through the, I guess, the person that you are assigned versus the reality that would be the ideal, right? So yeah, the message for you is to realign with love, right? So don't think that, don't, if you have to communicate these areas of yourself, right, that you've come into awareness of, that you've worked through, you don't have to be passive with your energy. You don't necessarily have to be aggressive in the way that you articulate these things, but God does need you to delegate in terms of what you need in order to set the precedent for your future. So if you can do that from a place of love, you then guide other people onto the path of what you're also trying to manifest into your reality, because oftentimes you perhaps are the one that's trying to show up in people's scenes, in their movies, in the way that they need you to show up, but then, you know, when it comes time for you to be able to like EP your movie, right, and tell them, look, I'm gonna need you to show up here, this is what I need from you, bring this energy, okay, when it's time for you to be able to bring that into the space, right, it's, there isn't as much of the big firm sound grounded voice in being able to do that. It's more like, oh, can you, right. So with that being said, if you can like realign to that place of love for yourself, within yourself, and love for the companions that are assigned along this journey with you, you'll be able to kind of like present it from that place of love where it can be received with love and gratitude. Okay, so on that note, that's everything that we have for you. But that, I hope that that was useful for you. For those of you who have chosen the rose quartz crystal as you're navigating through this Cancer full moon energy, comment down below, okay, let me know how you felt the information resonated with you, and yeah, like how you were actually able to utilize it to do the very said things that you're probably having to navigate through right now as far as the classes that you're navigating, right? Because the path is the path either way, that part. So yeah, hopefully that was useful for you guys. Comment down below and let me know. We're going to move on to the next card. Before we do so, guys, okay, we are going to go to a quick ad. This is a personal ad, right? Because this is to do with some of the things that your girls got coming for y'all in 2023. I've been talking about it. I've been putting it out there. I've been sort of like letting you guys know, right? That I'm kind of like working on these things, but you guys have yet to see anything. You guys have probably been like, what is she on about? Is she even doing anything? Sure did. But yeah, I'm doing stuff, right? I'm doing stuff. It's just not necessarily on the timelines that I would have thought, but listen, God is good. So we move, right? Hang tight for that quick ad for the up and coming stuff that we've got here on the channel, on my website, and just all the events that we've got intended for y'all for 2023. That part. Okay. Hey, beautiful people, it's your girl Shakima. I just wanted to stop into the space. I'm sorry to interrupt the service, but I wanted to let you guys know about some of the awesome things that we've got going on and some of the amazing things that we've got coming up here on the channel. Consciously Connected, we are definitely going to be putting some of the assignments that God has placed upon our hearts, my heart, I say our, but my heart. I say that to say we're definitely going to be utilizing 2023 to execute, and we want you guys to join us on the journey. We want you guys to be able to align with this. I say we because this is a team effort, okay? I'm here as the vessel, but the guides are here, okay, to be able to allow for us all to move into the divine grand plan that God has for us. All of these souls that I'm assigned to, that are assigned to me, that are assigned to them, we're all going to do this together. So head on over to the website. It is www.consciouslyconnected.com. I'm going to run that across the screen here so you guys can sort of like see all the details. Go onto the website, subscribe on the website. That way you guys can get notification, because you guys have mentioned to me that you're not necessarily being notified of when I go live or when I am actually having videos sort of out and stuff like that. So what I'm going to be doing is creating this content in my weekly newsletters for you guys, so you guys can have access to that on the blog section of the website. And I'm going to get really back into the rhythm of stuff, because we've got a lot of stuff coming for you guys. later this year, in spring of this year, we actually want to get the journals up and running. We've got menstruation genital journals coming as well, and that's an interesting project, guys. With that project, we're actually going to be supporting some of the amazing kids in Uganda, some of the amazing young adults in Uganda who are actually going to be learning how to make sanitary towels, and they're also going to be able to, I guess, position themselves to have these sold in schools there, actually, just so that, you know, young girls who are like starting that phase of life, because you guys know how it is, they can also be able to feel comfortable, so that it can become a normalized experience for them within that culture there as well. So we're definitely going to be doing big things in 2023. 33% of the proceeds, because it is going to be like different layers. We're definitely going to have the free tier, where you can just journal on a monthly basis, but there'll be different tiers for different things, because there's also a course that you guys can actually get access to actually understand what is going on with your body during the process of your monthly purge, because as a woman, it is definitely an important aspect of our journey, hormonally speaking, emotionally speaking, psychologically speaking, and definitely spiritually speaking as well. So we're going to be rolling out projects like those during the springtime, and beyond that, we have so many more amazing things coming for you guys. We've got mugs to suit as well. This is a healthy womb sigil, and sigils are pretty much magical symbols. So this is right here. We've got some of these on the website as well for those of you guys who may be planning to join us in the new astrological year in spring. You can start ordering your mugs now. I think we're able to sort of do worldwide delivery because it is a print on demand service, but y'all just gonna have to order and see and then hit me up, y'all. But thank you guys so much for even stopping in, watching the video. I'm gonna let you guys get back into your stuff, okay? I appreciate you. Head on over to the website again and just sign up for the subscription, so that you guys can be kept in the know of all of the amazing stuff I've got coming to you guys in the future, 2023 and beyond. We are here, okay? Much love, guys. Right, so for those of y'all who have chosen the amethyst crystal, you guys are definitely going through some crown chakra activation stuff, right? Because I can't say necessarily activation per se, but the crown is really like ripe. It's like fertile soil at the minute to receive these downloads and put out these projections at the same time for manifestation. So we're definitely going to have to like unpack the cards and have a look and see what's kind of like going on for you guys. But it was interesting because the where you guys are internally, right? This is the card for you guys. We have the Six of Swords, and we have it in reverse, which means that from what I can see, you guys are carrying some baggage. Okay, you guys are carrying some baggage. There are certain things that you may find yourself like, it feels like you're struggling to move on from certain things. There's certain thoughts that may be haunting subconsciously, that you're kind of like navigating through during this Cancer full moon transit. And as you kind of like go through the process of doing that and kind of like, I guess, going through this necessary transition for yourself by being able to like see these files come to surface, so that you can scan the files, control alt delete what doesn't necessarily need to be there anymore, and also just kind of like maybe even shifting certain degrees of perspectives where you can for things that you're still potentially healing from, because I find that the things that we overthink a lot of the times has to do with like wounds that aren't necessarily settled within ourselves. So yeah, you guys are internally sort of like navigating through just the unexpected turns of events in life that you've had to endure and embrace at the same time in order to get to where you are. That's how they're giving it to me, which is interesting because it lets me know that you've been through some battles, Soja. That part, okay? So as far as the path that you're crossing the path of the Magician and the Mirror. So this card is, I guess it's also equivalent to the Magician in the Tarot. And I have to touch on the fact that you guys are navigating through this path because it really is a turning point in your experience, right? Some of these thought processes and patterns that are actually no longer serving you, they're going through their process of actually being updated to the genetic upgrade that you've had, right? Because I feel like there's been some emotional updating or upgrading if you will. There's been some emotional growth, basically. And I feel like now the mentality is essentially being updated along with it. And it's definitely going to help you and assist you with your manifesting abilities. And the thing is, like, you're now becoming even more aware about how your mentality is affecting and impacting your ability to manifest. How about that? So now you are taking ownership. You are taking ownership, essentially, of that right. You're taking ownership of that ability, and you're owning how you use it, the force that you use to even delegate it. Yeah, you're getting better at learning how to find the balance between your heat, the sensitivity levels of your heat, and your passion, your coolness. So hot and cold. Passion tends to be quite hot. Hurt feelings tends to be quite cold. Okay, like, so passion, remember what I just said there. Passion tends to be quite hot and steamy. Hurt feelings tends to be quite cold. Okay, so whenever you find yourself navigating through situations where you're being cold, that's you basically showing your hurt feelings in some place. And you have to identify, firstly, what is it that you're triggered by in that moment, to identify what feelings are actually hurt, so that you can navigate through the path of that dynamic that you're moving through at the minute. But it's going to be an interesting class for you. Okay, guidance on how to work your light. Okay, we have quite a few things here for you. Okay, so this was interesting, right? This was very, very interesting, because what they're sort of like letting me know is that the thought pattern that you're actually updating during the process, a lot of the thought patterns that you're updating are, it's attached to certain scars, essentially, right? And you're being a little bit defensive and overly protective in certain areas, which is causing you to, like, misrepresent yourself in ways where you're not as playful as you actually are internally, because there's all of these scars, I guess, that you're wearing like a chip on your shoulder, right? And the guidance for you on how to kind of like navigate and work your light during this Cancer full moon is to tune into your into the portal of your heart, tune into your heart center. Devote yourself to that inner temple to really understand, you know, like when we talk about the temple, right? The temple has to get clean. Somebody has to do the cleaning, y'all. Okay, so when we talk about that inner temple, like, consider this God taking you through I wouldn't call it a spring cleaning because we're not there yet. We'll call it a solstice clear out, because we had the winter solstice and we're like officially into the winter period. And this is the first moon that we're having, I guess, in the winter period, I want to say, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I think so. This is the first moon that we're having now that we've crossed over into the winter solstice. So this is God giving you an opportunity to kind of like clear out some baggage from the heart space that's still actually causing these entanglements in your mind, right? It's like these outlived patterns and sequence that you've probably emotionally healed from, but mentally you're still carrying the scarring in terms of the way that you think about things with the situation. So the advice for you in terms of being able to tune into your heart temple, ask yourself, what are some of the things that you're clinging on to when you kind of find yourself in these situations where you may be carrying the baggage of certain things, or you might find that the way that God can sometimes reveal to you what you're carrying is by obviously triggering it to come to surface. So there may be something to cause some tension within the inner vortex of your vessel, by chance, to be able to allow for you to see that there may be something that you're holding on to that may be perpetuating the very thing or the nature of said thing that you say that you no longer want, right? And God's trying to give you an opportunity to be able to clean that up for this winter solstice, right? So that you can get back into your playful character, back into your playful nature, and actually have fun with this whole life thing. Actually have fun with it, with this manifesting thing, right? And should you, interestingly enough, do that, the outcome, again, we have the magician here for you. So it's written. It is written for you to be able to activate your inner magician energy, and you are definitely going to be taking yourself to new levels during this Cancer full moon, because we've got the Empress, right, in your outcome deck, and we've got the magician in your outcome deck. So there's two major arcanas here. So this is a big transition for you that you're navigating through during this Cancer full moon transit. It wouldn't hurt for you as well to have a look and see where you were 6 months ago navigating through the Cancer new moon, and maybe even go a year back and see where you were since the last Cancer full moon, just to understand how deep the layers of some of these thought processes go. But the outcome for you, should you take heed, okay, and tune into your inner portal of your heart center and actually like gain insight into some of the things that you're still holding on to, some of the baggage that you may still be carrying, the outcome of that is that you will be able to be fruitful and you will be able to get the recognition that you deserve. And God is ultimately sort of like seeing to it, right? But as you're kind of like navigating through the process right now, it may look initially like it's not moving any in your favor, but it is. But it is, my love. Okay, I have to put that out there because they're very like, I'm sensing this, but it is. God is simply moving things from where you are right now to where it could potentially be in terms of this magician being able to come into its own, right? But there's some information overload that you're going to be navigating through, right? Because you're going to be, I guess, schooled during this class of where your thought processes are, how to avoid conflict. And that means you may need to find yourself navigating through some conflict to figure out how to go through conflict resolution class effectively. So you are going to be able to kind of like find yourself as far as the outcome of this situation. You'll be emotionally balanced and in control of the atmosphere that you're navigating, because that ultimately is the aim, and that's what the outcome is here for. It's here to be able to give you an opportunity to really get into that that Six of Wands energy where you've got victory, okay, where you've overcome, where you've persevered, where you're confident in your ability to do the things that you set out to do because you've seen all that you've been able to accomplish, and you've seen the progress of what you can do when you set your mind to something, right? So there's definitely going to be a lot coming in at you at the end. I want to say the outcome. So we're talking about the outcome of the Cancer full moon, which is going to be leading up to the next moon that we've got coming, which would essentially be the Leo full moon, not the next new moon coming, but the next full moon, because then that shifts from this full moon energy into the Leo full moon energy. And that's where you'll be able to obviously really see some of this energy cultivating itself in preparation for that Leo full moon transit as well, right? And the message for you, okay, from the universe as you kind of like navigate through all of this awesomeness is that happiness is your birthright, okay? Happiness is your birthright. You don't have to ponder on it. You don't have to, you know, plague yourself with unhappy thoughts or disturbing thoughts or distressing thoughts, right? If you do find yourself in those moments and you do have to visit those vibrations to boop, 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 get yourself back up, okay? Visit there, but make sure that it's a visit, okay? And know that happiness is your birthright. Sometimes you have to go and identify what isn't working so that you can see what is. And the happiness isn't necessarily, or shouldn't, in essence, be conditioned by always experiencing the emotion of joy. Even though I know that happiness for us as humans, how we experience it, it's supposed to be that gleeful feeling, right? But sometimes there's sort of long-term happiness. And in those moments of joy that we're fighting for in the now are actually some of the moments later on that we'll be grateful for in terms of the way that it played out. So just know that happiness is your birthright. God and the universe, the stars are aligning to give you an opportunity to really be able to set yourself free. Free yourself from yourself is the advice for you overall, to be fair. But happiness is your birthright. Okay? So I hope that that was useful for you, my loves, who have chosen the actual amethyst crystal. We're going to go and dive into the Sodalite crystal and unpack the guidance there for you guys. Before we do so, we're going to go into another quick ad break just so that we can run you guys by some of the awesome stuff that we've got coming up for you guys during this 2023 experience. It's amazing not to be alive. Sorry, run advert. Hey beautiful people, it's your girl Shakima. I just wanted to stop into the space. I'm sorry to interrupt the service, but I wanted to let you guys know about some of the awesome things that we've got going on and some of the amazing things that we've got coming up here on the channel. Consciously Connected, we are definitely going to be putting some of the assignments that God has placed upon our hearts. My heart. I say our, but my heart. I say that to say we're definitely going to be utilizing 2023 to execute, and we want you guys to join us on the journey. We want you guys to be able to align with us. I say we because this is a team effort, okay? I'm here as the vessel, but the guides are here, okay, to be able to allow for us all to move into the divine grand plan that God has for us. All of these souls that I'm assigned to, that are assigned to me, that are assigned to them, we're all going to do this together. So head on over to the website. It is www.consciouslyconnected.com. I'm going to run that across the screen here so you guys can sort of like see all the details. Go onto the website, subscribe on the website. That way you guys can get notification, because you guys have mentioned to me that you're not necessarily being notified of when I go live or when I am actually having videos sort of out and stuff like that. So what I'm going to be doing is creating this content in my weekly newsletters for you guys, so you guys can have access to that on the blog section of the website. And I'm going to get really back into the rhythm of stuff, because we've got a lot of stuff coming for you guys later this year. In spring of this year, we actually want to get the journals up and running. We've got menstruation digital journals coming as well, and that's an interesting project, guys. With that project, we're actually going to be supporting some of the amazing kids in Uganda, some of the amazing young adults in Uganda who are actually going to be learning how to make sanitary towels, and they're also going to be able to, I guess, position themselves to have these sold in schools there, actually, just so that, you know, young girls who are like starting that phase of life, because you guys know how it is, they can also be able to feel comfortable, so that it can become a normalized experience for them within that culture there as well. So we're definitely going to be doing big things in 2023. 33% of the proceeds, because it is going to be like different layers. We're definitely going to have the free tier where you can just journal on a monthly basis, but there'll be different tiers for different things, because there's also a course that you guys can actually get access to actually understand what is going on with your body during the process of your monthly purge, because as a woman, it is definitely an important aspect of our journey, hormonally speaking, emotionally speaking, psychologically speaking, and definitely spiritually speaking as well. So we're going to be rolling out projects like those during the springtime, and beyond that, we have so many more amazing things coming for you guys. We've got mugs to suit as well. This is a healthy womb sigil, and sigils are pretty much magical symbols. So this is right here. We've got some of these on the website as well for those of you guys who may be planning to join us in the new astrological year in spring. You can start ordering your mugs now. I think we're able to sort of do worldwide delivery because it is a print on demand service, but y'all just gonna have to order and see and then hit me up, y'all. But thank you guys so much for even stopping in, watching the video. I'm gonna let you guys get back into your stuff, okay? I appreciate you. Head on over to the website again and just sign up for the subscription so that you guys can be kept in the know of all of the amazing stuff I've got coming to you guys in the future, 2023 and beyond. We are here, okay? Much love, guys. Right, guys, I hope you guys are making sure that you actually listen and take heed of what we had to say in the ads, and actually head over to the website and get yourself signed up, so that, you know, when we actually start getting some of these videos, because some of you guys have also mentioned as well, like we said in the video, about not getting the notification. So these videos are going to be on my website as well as here on YouTube, okay? So they'll be on the blog section of the site, and you guys will be able to access those as well. So definitely sign up, okay? Do your girl a favor. I'm joking, guys. Okay, right, so let's get into it. Sodalite crystal. You guys are on that throat chakra activation. It's all about speaking. Speaking. I say speaking, but I mean throat chakra. Communication is so much more than just words. Like, honestly, verbiage is like the least of our, you know, concerns with the situation. We need to be thinking about like body language and its verbs and its nouns and its pronouns and things that it's saying whilst our mouth is saying one thing, right? But yeah, let's dive into it. Ooh, we've got a lot of magician energy on this end of the actual reading overall. So for you guys, we are starting out, okay, as far as like where you are internally as you're navigating the energies of this Cancer full moon. Interesting for y'all guys, okay? So what we have here is that you guys are actually in recovery period. This is interesting. So you guys are basically navigating through I guess you're kind of like mastering your own insecurities. You're mastering your own insecurities, and I say that again because the throat chakra, when it's in balance, has a lot to do with our self-esteem dynamics, right? So you're mastering your insecurities as you're kind of like navigating this Cancer full moon, and you're seeing the places where you've actually recovered, where certain things that may perhaps were a trigger 6 to 18 months ago. I want to say 6 to 18 months for you guys. You're seeing that you've actually like done a lot of introspection. You've really taken the time to go deep within yourself. Hashtag hermit vibe, okay? Because you guys have got like 2 major arcanas here as well. We've got the hermit card and we've got the magician. So it tells me that you guys are definitely going deep within during this Cancer full moon, and you guys are being drawn to go deep within, just so that you can see some of the stories of your past that you've actually healed from, so you don't have to keep playing up to the standards of said stories anymore. I feel like that's what God's trying to do for you with this situation as well, because I'm seeing like there's stories where you're talking potentially about areas where you were casted out into the cold, where you felt like you were nothing, where you were worthless, where it felt like people didn't necessarily see your value, again, because you didn't see it in yourself. So if they shortchanged you and you took whatever they gave you, you allowed it, technically they couldn't have known that you had more value to you, right? Because they shortchanged you and you accepted whatever they presented. So it's unfortunate to even like have to disclose it like that, but that's the reality, right? It's not necessarily just that they shortchanged you, it's that you shortchanged yourself as well, and you're learning all of these areas that you've actually grown from, some of the areas you're still working at as well, to be able to I feel like some of the areas you're still working at as well, to see where you still have fears about finding yourself back into some of these situations. There may be a situation during this Cancer full moon that will end, I want to say, quite abruptly. It may be, again, because we're dealing with I want to say romance and friendship for you. I don't see the work dynamic situation or career situation in the mix of this. It may be romance or friendship where you might be dealing with a sudden shift in a situation where it's like an abrupt end. And it's also forcing you to go deep within yourself as well, to see where some of your boundaries have asserted where you are in terms of your experience now, or you may be on the receiving end of somebody's boundary pretty much affirming itself to you, right? But you're learning how to master that, because that's an insecurity of yours that God is strengthening you through, right? The path that you're crossing is accepting the journey that you're on, is embracing the journey that you're on, is actually being able to see that this journey is a bridge into that next level of life that you so deeply want, so deeply have prayed on, so deeply are yearning. This right here, as brutally painful as it may feel, this is the actual journey that is getting you into that place where you can actually execute and have the energy and capacity to be able to continue the journey ahead without feeling like you're stretched too thin, or you're overexerting your energy in places and in people and in relationships. So I think God may take you off duty, potentially off a relationship, to be able to free up room for the journey ahead, potentially. So that may be something that plays out for you during this Cancer full moon for some of you guys, because I see that you guys are going to be taking like different paths here as well. There may be people who have different motives, agendas, and intentions as well. And God may be reordering things in your life during this season of the Cancer full moon for you, to allow for the journey ahead to be a little bit more of a reflection of where you're going versus where you've been, okay? Because some of the ways that you've probably made decisions, even now in the present, has been based on where you've been. And God is going to help you to develop perspective on how to make decisions for where you're going, okay? Because you're now in the recovery stage of life, and it doesn't look or feel or even smell the same way as life did before. The guidance for you as you're navigating through this activation during this Cancer full moon is that it's not an external awakening that you're navigating through. You're navigating through an internal awakening, okay? This card, the awakening card, is in reverse, okay? If you can see the card, it's the awakening. It came out in reverse for you because it's an internal activation that's taking place. And the advice for you as you navigate through the process of this internal activation is to not dim to fit in. Okay, you don't have to dim to fit in. It's okay to bend, but it's never okay to dim. So you're going to have to really identify and go deep within yourself to see where are you still dimming your light in order to fit the narrative of others, in order to basically show up, like I said, in other scenes in the way that they need you to show up. Okay, you have to also identify where you're still playing up to your shadow side, versus focusing on the light aspect of yourself that you've worked so hard to activate and maintain at this point. You're going to have to see where your inner conflicts lie with your shadow side, as well as you're navigating through the context of this Cancer full moon. And I do want to sort of say, guys, we do have to remember that it's one of those, transits when it comes to Cancer. Because it's the universal fourth house, it is about family dynamics. So there may be situations where you might learn about how your family dynamics have caused you to be able to show up in situations in certain ways, and you may be updating some of those programs as you're navigating through the process, right? As far as the outcome for you, should you take the guidance on working your light and making sure that you're not dimming to fit in, the outcome for you is that Knight of Swords energy. Okay, that Knight of Swords energy, where it's almost like very opinionated. There's definitely being able to articulate and say, like, this is how I'm feeling. You have to be mindful as well, because Mercury's in retrograde, so this may be challenging on how to be able to articulate this. And sometimes, like, look, sometimes the demons speak how they speak. I myself work at trying to refine my demons in terms of them being able to articulate what it is that they need. But we're all human, right? We're all human. So know that however the delivery comes off, ultimately, because I see the delivery being a little bit scattered, because the Knight of Swords energy can also be like very direct and blunt, and like it can potentially have disregard for consequences. So just be mindful of that energy being in the space, because you're still creating karma for yourself moving forward as well. Like future self still needs that good karma. Okay, that part. So like the outcome of this is that actions really sort of manifesting, right? And you're taking the necessary actions to meet your words, basically. And that's what you'll see, right? But it will kind of negate some hasty decisions being made in situations. Like I said, it feels like there's like some sort of abrupt ending of a situation, or for some people, it may be that this Mercury retrograde is bringing back an old dynamic or relationship situation to give you a new context of that journey. But still, don't dim to fit into what you think that you need to be in that context of situations. For some of you guys, this Mercury retrograde is taking somebody out of the space to make room for some other stuff that God has for you, okay? Your message from the universe, okay, for you guys is, I am a spirit having a human experience, and I'm here to get closer to love. Okay, remember what I just said to y'all about like we're all human, and sometimes I just like let my demons, like I have to find ways to refine them. That you're human, so your hurt feelings are going to want to be validated. Your hurt feelings on any situation is going to want to be heard and received. Okay, but again, it's just how do you negate that experience of being human and actually having to live this human existence? Are you doing it to get closer to love, or are you moving further away from love in the process of how you're navigating the situation? Because I told you, this battle that you're going to be navigating during this Cancer full moon is actually technically an inner battle that is spilling out into the external to give you an opportunity to show you the reflection of where you actually are in life. Okay, like in terms of your emotional plane of existence and the psychological impact that that may be having. So with that being said, just make sure that you find the right balance between human expression of self versus the love of God that has been placed within you, the light of love that has been placed within you, that is a spark of God. Move from that godly place within yourself. I know it's a challenge, because even for myself, when I find myself navigating through some of my low vibrations, it's a challenge to stay in my best God, right? Like in my best godlike state of mind. But again, it's really just about focusing on love. If you focus on love, it's easy to find God there. If you focus away from God, if you focus away from love, God will come and let you know that his presence is there for you in spite of where you are. But it's easier to find God within yourself in the presence of love. Okay? On that note, I'm going to love you guys and leave it there for you. I hope that that was useful for you guys. Definitely be sure to comment down below. Let me know how you guys feel about the information. How was it useful for you? What you got from it. Yeah, all of the above. And also, guys, definitely don't forget to head on over to the website to get yourself subscribed, like the ad said, okay? And look out for the projects that we've got coming. Okay, because we want to be able to kind of like build a community and allow for this seed to really be nurtured throughout 2023 with some action, right? Because I've been like nurturing it with intention and like plans, but now we're going to nurture it with action. So hopefully you guys can join me in that. And on that note, I'm going to drop the mic. I'm going to love you guys and leave it there for you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video. And until then, namaste. Take care, my loves.
They said to hold her back, they never seem to leave her head and tend to keep her mind.